Most people don't realize how massive this neighborhood is and how choosing the wrong section could be a costly mistake. Guys, I'm about to blow you away with one of the most in-depth breakdowns of what some people consider one of the best neighborhoods in Austin. I'm taking you on a full map tour of Circle C Ranch, showing you all of the places you might want to live and honestly, a few that you might want to avoid. Plus, I'll cover everything you need to know about living in this neighborhood before you make the move so you don't make any mistakes. Let's jump into the map. All right, like I told you, we're jumping into a map. I've got a lot of good stuff for you in this video, so don't click away. Again, if this is a place you're moving, you're gonna wanna watch this. So let's start with, where is Circle C Ranch? So here's a map of Austin, and if you look southwest, so you go down Mopac, we're gonna highlight it for you right here. It's this neighborhood southwest of downtown Austin, and it's extremely convenient, extremely accessible to downtown if that's something that's important to you. As a matter of fact, check this out. I'm gonna show you in real time how quickly I can get downtown. I'm right at La Crosse and Mopac. I'm waiting for the clock to turn 10:19. Let's see. I don't know if you could see that, but it's 10:18, right when it turns 10:19. I'm getting down there so I could show you how convenient Circle C is to downtown Austin. Come on the clock, it's 10:19, see you there. In my parking lot, you can see my office is right there. I don't know if you can see this time. 10:28. Took me 9 minutes from right near Mopac. Yes, if you live deeper in the neighborhood, it'll add on a few minutes, but it's hard to beat living in a master plan community with that many amenities and be this close to downtown and enjoy all of Austin. Make up your mind. To me, it really gives that perfect blend of suburban feel, established community, and convenience to downtown. All right, so I know what you're probably thinking. He did that without traffic. It was 10 a.m. Yes, I get that. So I'm going to show you what the commute looks like with traffic, because it is important to know, and it's something that I deal with pretty much every day when I'm driving to my office, which is downtown. So if we're in Circle C Ranch, I'm going to show you to get to my office, which is on the west side of downtown. It's pretty accessible to Mopac. So as you can see, just plugging it in regular time, about 13 minutes. Now, what I want to do is show what that looks like if we leave at 8 a.m. because this changes things. Now you see typically 18 to 40 minutes, and I can tell you firsthand, it could take that long. There's mornings where after I drop my girls at school, head into downtown, and it could take usually 40 minutes is kind of pushing it, but 25, 30 minutes is definitely realistic. So again, super convenient, super accessible neighborhood, but when traffic gets in the mix, anywhere in Austin, we know that that throws things off a little bit. But what I want to show you now is, aside from being convenient to downtown, if you're in Circle C Ranch and you want to go to the airport, you're looking at about a 20-minute drive. Let's see what it clocks us at right now, about 18 minutes. Again, traffic could get longer, but this is great if you travel a lot or you just like being convenient to the airport for the times when you do travel. So take Mopac to 290 right here. Super convenient. And again, one thing that people love about this neighborhood is its proximity to Mopac gives you access to, so Mopac turns into 45 right here, which goes out, this is going to take you out toward Driftwood and Dripping Springs. It hits 1826 and that takes you to Driftwood. So easy access out there. And the 45 toll road right here, they built this just a few years ago and opened it up, and it allowed an easy access point if you want to go to Hayes County, if you're going, let's say, to Buda and Kyle. So to zoom out a little bit, you see Circle C is right here, Buda is over here, and then if you continue a little bit further south, you've got Kyle. So easy access to get to I-35 on that side as well. So from a convenience standpoint, pretty hard to beat. Now I'm going to walk you through the different sections of Circle C. This is extremely important because depending on your price point and depending on what you're looking for, there's a lot of different sections to choose from. So going through this list will help you decide which ones to avoid and which ones might be the best fit for you. Now, I'm going to jump into the MLS to give you a little bit different view so we can see what's listed right now and what is pending. Texas is a non-disclosure state, if you didn't know that, so I'm not going to show you sold prices, but I'll give you an idea, a range. If there's any sections without homes available right now, you'll get an idea. So let's jump into the MLS view right here, and we're going to do this in a few tiers. So we're going to start it at our higher tier, where you'll also see some luxury options if you're looking to get into Circle C, and then we'll work our way down. We're going to start off with this section. I'm going to put a little shape around it so you guys can see exactly where I'm talking about. And this is the On the Park section of Circle C. Now, why is it on the park? Well, if we switch to a satellite view, you'll see that all of this is protected green belt. There's tons of mountain biking trails, little creek that runs through here. So if you're getting into this neighborhood, a good thing to look out for. You'll pay a little bit of a premium for it, but if you're along this side of Van Winkle and Austral Loop, then you'll likely back to a green belt and have no neighbors behind you for, this is all protected space. So they're not going to build back there, which is great. So you see two houses currently either listed or pending in the On the Park section. Now, this section is zoned to Kiker Elementary. I'll go through all the schools later in this video and show you some options if you don't want to send your kids to public school, some great accessible options right near the neighborhood as well. So in the On the Park section, not a ton of homes, but in this section, you're going to find bigger lots. A lot of these lots are maybe 0.3 acres or bigger, tons of trees. I mean, you can see it in the satellite view, lots of trees, lots of big oaks, probably tens, hundreds of years old oak trees in this section. So it's a really beautiful area to drive through. And if your kids are going to Kiker Elementary, which is right here, then it's likely that this is where you see a lot of people walking to school, biking to school. So if your budget can support it and you want a little bit more space, a little bit bigger lot, and you want that convenience to school, this is a great section for you, the On the Park section. Now, in this section, you're looking at probably the 800 to, which is on the very low end, to the probably $1.3 million range. Now, you can go a little bit higher than that, but as you can see, there's a $1.1 million home listed right now, 5-bed, 4-bath, and there is one pending right under 800. Again, that's going to be like entry level for this area because the houses are bigger. Now, you get some older houses, not as updated, you might be able to get close to that price point, but great section on the park. Let's move to another one that's at our higher tier, and you're gonna get a little bit newer of a home. Okay, zooming back out so you can get a lay of the land of the neighborhood. We went back to our map view. The next section is called Avanya. Now, this is where you're gonna find the newer homes in Circle C Ranch, which is why you see that price point elevate a little bit. And there are some closer to entry-level homes available, but as far as the ceiling, how high they go, this is where you're gonna land if you're looking for that higher tier. So Avanya is this entire section. Let's draw our shape around it. As you can see, just from the map view, a lot of greenery, a lot of green space in this area, and homes were built, up to just a couple years ago, but mostly in the last 10 years. So if you're looking for something maybe a little bit more modern floor plan, maybe a little bit more modern design, newer construction, then Avanya could be that neighborhood that you're looking to get into. I know a couple cool features about Avanya. One is that they built a school in the neighborhood. So Bear Creek Elementary, see if we can go to our satellite view, is right here in this section of Circle C. So I showed you On the Park was right across from Kiker Elementary. This neighborhood Avanya has a school in, and it's pretty much brand new. It was just built a couple years ago. So a nice perk for people who live in this section. And it also has its own pool. So we'll go through all the amenities in Circle C in just a little bit, but having your own pool in the neighborhood, again, just adds to that convenience factor. Now, when we talk about price point, what is it going to cost me to get into the neighborhood? Well, you're looking at mostly, I would say, in the high 600s up to, again, over 1.3 million, I would say. It could go up to 1.5. There's a section, Avanya Estates, that is right here. Actually, it left my map, but this one little street has a handful of homes that are on bigger lots, modern build. Those can go over 2 million. But as you can see, if we poke around, just hover over these 950, 1.1, 975, 1.12, 1.5, and then you see kind of entry level over here, 650. One thing you got to keep in mind though, and this is something we walk all of our clients through, is it really matters where you buy in this section and a lot of sections in Circle C, because something like this, if you're in one of these houses, you might be backing to this 45 highway. A lot of traffic, it's loud, so this can drastically affect your resale value if you end up in a house that backs to 45. So definitely keep that in mind. But this is closer to the front of the neighborhood. You see here's a 1 million. If you're wondering, what does 1.5 get me? Look, you see around 4,000 square feet. This is what I told you, newer, those modern builds, tall ceilings. So This kind of gives you a little bit of an idea if you're on that high end of being in Avanya. And all the sections that I break down for you today, you might find some options a little lower and a little higher than the range that I give you, but that's kind of like the ballpark of what you're gonna find these in. Again, this was built in 2015, so it's 10 years old. Now, if these sections feel a little bit out of the budget, don't click away. In just a bit, I'm gonna show you some more accessible, a little bit lower price point sections of Circle C that might work better for you, because there are some great areas that all have different perks. So definitely stay tuned for that. But in a few minutes, we'll get into those. But I wanna jump back to giving you the lay of the land when it comes to entertainment, things to do, your daily lifestyle, grocery stores, all of that, because I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised at what is in the neighborhood, although it definitely leaves some to be desired. And that's coming from someone who lives there who wishes there was a little bit more, but I'll get into that in just a second. So you take Circle C Ranch, grocery stores, where are you gonna go shopping? Well, in Escarpment Village, right here at, I was in the right spot. So at Escarpment and Slaughter Lane, which is right here, this is the exit that you get off of when you come into Circle C. This is where your HEB grocery store, so we're gonna zoom in a little bit so we can see. Here's your HEB right here. But maybe you are watching this, you're not really an HEB person, you want a little bit more healthy options, although HEB has a ton of healthy options, gluten-free, vegan, whatever you want. A lot of pre-made stuff. It's actually one of the best HEBs out there. But let's say you want a Whole Foods. Let's check out how close we are to a Whole Foods. Well, make sure I spell that correctly. Whole Foods at Arbor Trails. So that's gonna be the closest Whole Foods to Circle C. So this kind of puts you back in the middle of Circle C. And see right here, 4.8 miles, 10 minutes to this shopping center right here. And you probably notice another very popular store, and one that if you've got kids, if you got a big family, you want to make sure there's one of these nearby. There's a Costco wholesale in the Arbor Trails shopping center as well. Now, right across from Costco, from Whole Foods, there's a Lifetime Fitness over here. So when you talk about like, okay, you got your shopping, healthy lifestyle, you want a place to work out, there's a Lifetime here. There's also an Orange Theory Fitness that is right when you get off the highway, right over here. So lots of different options for the lifestyle you're looking for. But here's where I think that Circle C leaves some to be desired. And that comes down to the restaurants and entertainment things to do. So I'll give you my thoughts. I would love to hear yours in the comments if you have been to the area. But the caveat to all this is we're so close to downtown that I'll share what we usually do when we have a date night or we have a night out, that we can, get some good food or do something fun. So back into Circle C, Escarpment and Slaughter Lane, in that area, Escarpment Village, where HEB is. On the other side of Escarpment, you've got a Torchy's Tacos right here. You zoom in, you've also got a Starbucks, where Starbucks, it's not showing up on the map for some reason, but right here, there's a Starbucks. And then a good spot for locals, Waterloo Ice House. This is one that they've got pretty good food. It's bar food. It's nothing crazy, but they've got a great, let's see if we can see it on our satellite view. You can see the playground. Yeah, there's a little playground back here. So this is like a whole little outdoor kind of screened in or enclosed area. So it's fun to go after baseball games or soft soccer games or after school. You sit in here, kids play out here, they get worn out. You eat, drink, do whatever you want. So it's great for that. Waterloo is probably one of those top spots that people go to in Circle C. Now there's Satellite here is another restaurant. I've honestly only been there once since I've lived there. I'll tell you why. There's just way better options closer to town that I like going to better. That's really it. But if we move over here closer to the highway, where I just think the map view is a little bit easier to kind of see everything. So move back closer to Mopac, there's a few other options in here as well. So you've got a Summer Moon Coffee, which is a local coffee spot. Also, if you go down here, there's an Alamo Draft House, which is our movie theater, dine-in movie theater, get food, drinks, all that kind of stuff. Milkshakes, pretty good. Don't sleep on those. And then a couple other restaurants. We've got Oast House and Keepers. They're two restaurants right here. And there's actually a speakeasy in Circle C. A lot of people don't know about this, but Daisy Lounge right here is a speakeasy between those two restaurants. You could walk by it several times without noticing there's a little daisy painted on the wall or on the door from the outside. Otherwise, you probably walk by it, but I'll show you the pictures. Cool little speakeasy lounge here. They've got good cocktails. The cocktails are expensive. You're probably going to be looking at, $16 to $20 cocktails, which welcome to Austin. But it's a cool little vibe, cool place to escape, nice quiet vibe if you're looking to do that. Also, right over here, there's a little AT&T, but there's this Desano Pizzeria. This hasn't opened yet. A lot of people are hoping it's a good one. I think it's a chain. I've never eaten at one, but people in the neighborhood are looking forward to it because a lot of people claim it's a good spot. So, like I said, some pretty good restaurants, coffee shops in Circle C, but a lot to be desired, a lot left to be desired. And this is why we go downtown, on weekends. If we're going on a date night, it takes us 10, 15 minutes to get to restaurants downtown or on the east side. Or one other good thing, which I mentioned, Driftwood and Dripping Springs. If you zoom out a little bit, you'll notice that these are very accessible. So Driftwood's over here, Salt Lick Barbecue is this way, Vista Brewing, and then out in Dripping Springs, this is where you'll find like all of the breweries, distilleries, wineries. Not all of them, but so many of them that we find ourselves like as a family going there a lot on the weekends. Just adding to that accessibility, you're looking at 15, 20 minutes, depending on how deep into Dripping Springs or Driftwood you're gonna go. But you can see the accessibility, all that is great to have. Now, speaking about accessibility, this is one reason why we welcome you. Definitely reach out to our team. Use us as a resource so we can help you find the area that fits your lifestyle best. All of our contact info is at the bottom of the screen. We're the Fenton Grossman Group here in Austin. Look us up on Google. But again, we encourage you. We help people like you all the time that watch our YouTube videos and reach out with questions and then eventually become our clients so we can guide them along the way and get you to the finish line in your move to Austin. All right, we're jumping back into the MLS so I can break down the middle tier sections for you so you have an idea of what you're going to spend if you're kind of middle of the road and you want these styles. There's some really unique sections in what I'm about to show you, and our entry level ones are coming soon. Some really cool sections over there depending on your lifestyle needs. So the next section we're going to go over is called Vintage Place. Now this is a very small section. I'm going to draw a little shape around it so you can get an idea of what this section looks like. There's actually no homes for sale or pending in here right now, so nothing to show you as far as availability, but you can kind of see, I'll throw some videos up on the screen so you can see this is a cool little pocket because there are all these craftsman style homes. It's almost like you're living back in Travis Heights, but you're in Circle C at a much more affordable price point. So very cool vibe. As you can see, there's a little loop here. There's a few streets that go in and out. So tight-knit community, very quaint type pocket of Circle C. And it's on the north side of Slaughter Lane, which there's only a couple sections on the north side. While there aren't any houses, I can tell you, you're probably gonna land in the $700,000 to $900,000 range if you're looking in Vintage Place. Now, again, it could be a little bit higher than that, but that's a good ballpark if you're looking, you like the style of these homes and you specifically want this section. Now, this section is zoned to Kiker Elementary, so while it's across Slaughter Lane, it's an easy trip. You still come down Escarpment Lane over here to La Crosse and you are at your elementary school. Now, that's not the only thing it's convenient to. One really cool thing is that it's right across the street from Circle C Metropolitan Park. I'm going to go into that in a second. I've got a little treat for you when it comes to breaking down the park. But these streets over here, there's a little stoplight right here with a crosswalk, and you can cross easily, safely over Slaughter Lane right into Circle C Metropolitan Park. Now, I probably wouldn't send my young kids to do it alone, but if you're with them, rest assured there's a safe way to get over there. So Vintage Place is the first one in our middle tier. And now let's check out the next section of our middle tier. And if you're looking for something a little bit newer, again, similar to Avanya, this is the other new section that you're gonna find. So we're gonna zoom out to give you the lay of the land. I'm gonna take you south of 45 again. This is the only other section that's south of 45 in addition to Avanya, into this little section here called Gray Rock. Now, Gray Rock is a newer section, homes built within the last 10 years or so again. And there's something about this little pocket that people don't like. And the big thing is accessibility. So it's not that inconvenient, but it's a little bit goofy to get in there. So when you're coming down Mopac, you come on 45, you have to do a U-turn here, and it takes you down into the neighborhood. Now, getting out of the neighborhood is easier. You can jump right on to this little feeder road, and it takes you onto Mopac, so that's not that bad. But again, people look at it as like, it's a little inconvenience, but it is what it is. This is another one where if you are in one of these houses, you might be closer to the highway than you want to be, so definitely be mindful of that. But there's one house in here, you can see it's on the market for $899,000. I'll give you an idea of what it looks like. So this one was built in 2017, so a little less than 10 years old. And you could see a little bit newer look to it compared to some of the sections we're gonna jump into in just a minute that are on our lower tier. Now, a couple cool features. I'm not gonna go through all the photos for you, but this section, like Avanya, has its own pool. So jump into the satellite here, show you pool in this neighborhood, so you don't have to go to, there's a lot of pools in Circle C, which I told you I'll get into in just a minute, one of the biggest perks of being in this neighborhood, but Grey Rock has its own pool. A couple other cool things, there's a Goddard school in here, one of the preschools. I'll go through all the schools in just a minute, but super accessible if you want to send your kid to daycare / pre-K in this little pocket. Now, you can expect to land in the $600 to $1 million range. In Avanya, like I showed you, there's nothing else available or pending in here. There's less homes to choose from, but there were times when, and we are in a high inventory market in Austin right now, but there are times where I saw, 6 to 10 homes in Grey Rock, and they just sat for a long time, a lot of competition, but kind of encouraging that there's only one home. Now, this section is going to be a zone to that new school, the Bear Creek Elementary, and I'll break down all the school ratings in just a little bit. So you saw Vintage Place, you saw Grey Rock. Now let's move to the next middle tier section. So our next middle tier section is going to be Circle C West. And there's a couple different pockets of Circle C West, but we're just going to consider Circle C West as, so you come down Escarpment, you take La Crosse, which is this road right here, get a little bit closer to it. And Circle C West is going to be this section over here, kind of once you pass over this green belt. Now, the schools here are zoned to Clayton. So what I'm going to do, just for ease of not seeing any other options, we're going to only put Clayton Elementary so you can kind of see the schools in this section. Now, homes in Circle C West built pretty much 2000 or later, so a little bit newer than some of the entry-level homes in Circle C. Again, zoned to Clayton Elementary. And one cool thing about this area, again, there's the community center, the pool. I'm going to give you the whole rundown of what goes on at those things, but that's in this section as well. So if we hover over some of these, you see a 900, 789, 775. Let's see if we can get one over a million. There's one 1.12, 8, 669, 960. So in this section, you can really, I would say the range is like 700 to 1.3 million. If you're getting a house with a pool with some updates, that's when you're going to be close to that 1.3 million. Also, you might notice there's a section here that says Circle C Gulf West Estates. So there's a few sections that are gated in Circle C, and there's a golf course, which I'll go get into later in the video. But these, depending on some of these sections, you might find a house that is on the golf course. If that's the lifestyle that you're looking for, there's also a gated section over here that is right off of 45 with homes that back to the golf course as well. So again, a little bit different vibes, some newer homes, zoned to Clayton Elementary on the west side of Circle C. If you're like over here, that commute, when I told you the commute to downtown was, I showed you 9 minutes, it could be 12, 15 minutes. It's gonna be a little bit longer here because it takes longer to get out of the neighborhood, but rest assured, you're still less than 20 minutes from door to door when there's no traffic to get downtown. Now, I do want to point out to you, as someone who lives in the neighborhood and has a lot of connections with agents in the neighborhood, if you are looking in Circle C, we highly recommend reaching out to our team to get information on coming soons, on off-market properties. There's a lot of insight that you probably don't see from behind the scenes that we know. We have agents reach out to us all the time and say, hey, do you have a buyer for X, for what they, this section, this price point? Whether you want 1-story, 2-story, master down, pool, all of that kind of stuff. We have a lot of insight into that. So definitely stay ahead of the competition, get a leg up on the competition, and look use us as a resource before you start your search blindly and wait for homes to pop up on Zillow, because while we are in a high inventory market and a lot of these homes have been sitting, if you look, you can see some of these homes have been sitting for a good amount of time. So I'm not telling you have to pull the trigger right away, but there are certain houses, it's the ones that are updated, priced well, in the desirable areas of Circle C. Those are still selling pretty quickly, so you want to be ready or beat everyone else to those homes. I'm about to give you the whole rundown of all the amenities in Circle C, but since I mentioned Grey Rock, the section in our middle tier, I wanted to take you over to Grey Rock Golf and Tennis. So it's an 18-hole semi-private course, so you don't have to be a member. You can come here, public can play. There's about a dozen tennis courts behind me. I don't remember exactly how many, but you can come here. There's tennis pros. You could rent courts. You could do lessons, but Grey Rock Golf and Tennis is located right off 45, where I showed you Mopac kind of curved around. Again, it goes onto the other side of 45, so there's houses on the golf course that you get. Beautiful course, so definitely come check this out. But now let's see the rest of the amenities and why people love landing in Circle C. All right, before we hit our low tier, our entry-level price homes, we're gonna jump into the amenities and lifestyle so you understand there's so much to offer, or this neighborhood has so much to offer. And part of the reason why people look at it is one of the most popular, highly sought after master plan communities in the Austin area. So we're gonna start with Circle C Metropolitan Park. I mentioned to you that Vintage Place was right across the street from Circle C Ranch Metropolitan Park. And instead of breaking down the map for you, I'm gonna take you there right now. So let's jump over to the park so you can get an idea of what to expect. All right, so I wanted to take you right into Circle C Metropolitan Park, which if you live here, especially if you have kids, you'll inevitably find yourselves here. But even if you don't have kids, there's lots to do. So I'll touch on that in just a second. So I'm on one of the soccer fields here. There are, I don't know, probably like 20 different soccer fields. Way behind me over there, there's a ton of them. On any given weekend during soccer season, these things are packed. So choose your weekends wisely if you're coming here to play. But as you can see right over here behind me, they built a brand new playground just a couple years ago. I guess it's not brand new anymore, but made it way more functional. I used to take my kids here when they were little and it was so-so, but now it's great. It's got swings, it's got the little spinning thing that'll make your kids dizzy. They seem to always love that. Slides, all the good stuff. There's also back over there some basketball courts. There's disc golf in the neighborhood, sand volleyball. Honestly, the list goes on. There's about 6 miles of walking, and you can call it walking, hiking, I would say walking trails that people are riding their bikes on all the time. And kind of plugged in throughout here are little mountain bike trails. You'll be walking and all of a sudden you'll just see like a mountain biker or a team of mountain biker, like 10 people kind of zip through right out of an opening in the woods, and then they hit the trail somewhere else. So Circle C Metropolitan Park is the place to be if you want to be outside, enjoy meeting people in the community if you're living in Circle C. Guys, pretty cool park there in Circle C. Again, if you have kids, it's like a madhouse there all the time. You'll definitely meet other families, meet other kids. Great spot to be. But there's also lots of other opportunities to meet kids if that's what you're looking for, to meet other families. Very community centric. So let me show you a few other great perks and amenities in the neighborhood. So we're going to start with 4 pools. I mentioned to you that there was a pool in Avanya, that was this section down here. I mentioned to you that there was a pool in Grey Rock, which is this section down here. Well, I would say there's 2 main pools in Circle C, and I'm gonna go back to our satellite view so you can see it, but the first one's gonna be the Circle C Swim Center. So over here, you've got an Olympic size pool. Now this is where if your kid is on swim team, they're gonna be spending a lot of time there over the summer, is that Circle C Swim Center. One cool thing about this pool in particular, there's a little baby pool over here. If your kid's like 5 and under, I think they allow them, there's a little slide. Sometimes the lifeguards can be, they're all like high school and college kids, so they can be a little much. Just gonna throw that out there, but they wanna make sure kids are safe and following the rules. So here's a little baby pool over here. Again, sometimes they do the long course for the Olympic lane swimming. So if you like swimming laps, if you're an adult, if you're a young adult, you can reserve lanes here and swim laps. It's really cool. The dive is a little cafe. So if you want to come with the family in the evening, get burgers, chicken tenders, hot dogs, whatever you want, any of that good stuff, or you can order pizza, bring it to the pool. They've got some picnic tables and stuff over here that you can do. So a lot of people do that. Now, over next to the pool, there's a basketball court, sand volleyball. This is like the weirdest playground ever. It's like a climbing gym, I would say. It's not a traditional playground. If it were up to me, I would say knock it down and put something more functional, because usually your kid like inevitably gets hurt or gets stuck on the top of it. They don't know how to get down. That's been my experience. So that is the Circle C Swim Center, main pool number 1. Now, or we'll call it pool number 3, because I told you about the other pools in the other part of the neighborhood. Now you go down La Crosse, told you if you live in Circle C West, you're gonna be closer to the other pool. So right next to Clayton Elementary, there's the Circle C Community Center. So you got the swim center, you got the community center. Now check out this pool, it's pretty cool. So a couple perks for this pool. It's got a slide. If your kid's 48 inches or taller, they get a wristband and they can ride the slide. I'm just gonna warn you, they better be 48 inches. They're pretty strict there. If you're not getting the hint of the rules at this pool or in this neighborhood, kind of is what it is. But if they're 47 inches, they're not gonna be allowed. So 48 inches to go on this slide. Also, this is kind of like a beach shallow entrance over here. One really cool thing about this section of the neighborhood, or this pool in the neighborhood, is that this entire pool is pretty shallow. It's only a few feet, I think like 4 feet deep. So your kids, depending on how big they are, can stand in most of the pool. That's kind of a breath of fresh air for me. I have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old. So you don't have to like be on top of them and watch them as much like a hawk. Although over here, there's kind of an adult section that's a little bit deeper. Now it's got a splash pad over here, kind of another little shallow area over here. So a lot of cool. This is like probably the pool that we go to the most, just because of the functionality, and the older kids like the slide here. Now this community center is way more than just a pool. So at the Circle C Community Center, food truck nights, getting the community together is big in this neighborhood, and this is where you're gonna find those. So usually once a month on Fridays, they do Circle C food truck night. They've got live music, food trucks, games, all sorts of things for the kids to do, drinks, all that good stuff. So that takes place in this parking lot right here. They have a little like Christmas celebration where sometimes they have Santa out there, little train rides around this area. They do a little Halloween, like trick or trunk or trunk or treat, whatever I've heard it called, different things. They do that over here. The turkey trot in the neighborhood on Thanksgiving ends at the Circle C Community Center. So as you can see, a lot of things neighborhood-centric, family-centric that get the community together in this neighborhood, and that's where you're gonna find a lot of it. So 4 pools, big perk for the neighborhood, but then as you zoom out, you see so much green space. Look at all this, it says green belt. Where you see green belt, that's all gonna be protected green space. So they're not gonna be building, here's that park that I took you to before, Circle C Metropolitan Park. A lot of mountain bike trails, walking trails. On any given morning, you go outside and you see people walking, jogging, riding bikes. There's a very big mountain bike and cyclist community in Circle C. They've got actually lanes, bike lanes, all up and down Escarpment Boulevard. They put those in a few years ago to keep those bikers, the cyclists, safe. So again, when you come here, you just feel like you want to be outside. You're motivated by people outdoors doing things, and just another reason why this neighborhood is so desirable. Now there's a couple spots, 2 kind of hidden spots that I didn't mention in the amenities and kind of lifestyle things to do in the area, because we're gonna wait till after the low tier, the entry level homes in Circle C. I'm gonna share those, I call them hidden gems, because whenever I mention them to people, they don't know that they exist. So I'm gonna get to those in just a minute, but let's get to what you were waiting for, the entry level homes in Circle C. If you're just trying to get into the neighborhood, these are the sections that you want to look at, and they're very different. So let's check them out. All right, so jumping back into the MLS to show you the first entry level, we're going to call Circle C North / Circle C proper. Now, to give you an idea of where these areas are, both zoned to Kiker Elementary. So we're going to get rid of Bear Creek and Clayton over here in our list. And Circle C North is called Circle C North because it's north of Slaughter Lane. So remember, you get off the highway here, Vintage Place was this section right here, and Circle C North is going to be over here. So these are going to be your more traditional, built in the late 80s when the neighborhood was first built. These are the homes, lots of brick in here, lots of mature trees. Backyards, for the most part, are going to be on the smaller end, but check out some of these price points as we hover over. $634, $610, $630, $529, $605. So if you're looking for getting in the low 500s, which is pretty much, again, entry level to get into Circle C, you might want to check out Circle C North. But if you like the vibe south of Slaughter Lane, closer to Escarpment, then this is considered like Circle C proper, I would say. So let's get those on the park section houses out of here. So you can see, so Circle C Ranch proper, I would say off Escarpment, just to the east, to the west and to the east. There are some really cool little pockets in here. Now, I'll give you an idea so you can see. These are from low to high, the price points. So you got $599 up to $1.245 million. Now, this is going to be on the high end. For the most part, you can land in this ballpark. I would say the $600 to $900 range. In this section, you'll still get a beautiful home. It won't be huge. It probably won't be over 3,000 square feet updated, but lots of great options for that. Now, that Redmond house, the 1.245, probably a little high. I'm just going to throw that out there. Let's see, it's been listed for 77 days, but this gives you an idea. Wow, they have like a lap pool in there. That's why. Bigger yard, it's got a little guest house. But when you look at the updates of a house like this, we haven't even gotten to the inside of the house. It's almost still a little bit more traditional, not like super modern, like, you know, if you land in Circle C West or Avanya. So I don't think this house is going to sell at that price, but time will tell. 0.3 acres, but you see built in 1990. So that gives you an idea of the first section. If you want to get entry level, Circle C North or Circle C proper is going to be your more traditional homes in the neighborhood. Okay, the next one is a cool one. At the beginning of the video, when I showed you how quickly it took me to get from Circle C to downtown, I was coming from right where this neighborhood is. So this next section is called the Wildflower Park section, and it's the only section that's going to be east of Mopac in like the Circle C proper section. But as you can see, here's a $750,000 house, but most of the houses in here, again, you can get in those $500,000 to $800,000 range. But why is it called Wildflower Park? Well, right here in the middle of the neighborhood, let's switch to the satellite view. You can see there's a little park. Now, on any given day, you're going to find kids playing out here, adults throwing frisbees, balls, football, baseball, whatever. There's little soccer nets set up, practicing soccer. And then if you zoom way in, you'll see there's a little playground over here too. So this is a very kind of like vintage place, a tight-knit community. You see a lot of times like birthday parties will take place at this park. A lot of people meet up, get together at the park. And then there's some really cool sections over here that all back to green space. So I would say you might pay a premium, but to get the best option in the Wildflower Park section, look for a house that might not have neighbors right behind you. It might be protected greenbelt. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, which you're going to see throughout this neighborhood and in a lot of master plan communities, if you're not familiar with the Austin area, this over here is where the mailboxes are. So here in Austin area, a lot of times you have a community mailbox. You won't have a mailbox right in front of your home. So kind of is an inconvenience, but it is what it is. It's just something you get used to. You get your mailbox key and you just got to check it every day or every couple days or so. That is our Wildflower Park section. And again, that's going to be zoned to Kiker Elementary right across Mopac. So the last section I'm going to show you, let's jump back to our map section. You got to be very careful if you are looking at homes in here. Let me tell you why. So this is going to be our Park West section. So this is right off Escarpment, kind of just north of what I showed you, Circle C proper, what we would consider. So if you see a house listed on Tasajillo Trail or one of these little side streets that you see, Delia Vista, what was that, Foxglove? Sorry, couldn't zoom in enough to that. So there's a couple little side like cul-de-sacs in here, but this is a gated section. These are going to be garden homes. So there is a very different look. When you check out the satellite view, you'll notice they all have stone roofs. So it almost has like a more Spanish style, but lower maintenance, kind of lock and leave type lifestyle. Now, I would never say you have to be a certain age to live in this section, but what we see is that a lot of our clients that have younger kids and want more space, more yard, they pass on this section again because they're lower maintenance, more garden style homes. So if you're looking for a slower pace in Circle C, you want the convenience of the neighborhood, then the Park West section might be a great option for you. As you can see, 600, 710, 779. So all in that ballpark in the $600 to $800 range, you can find a great house in this section and some really beautiful homes that back to this protected greenbelt over here. So throughout the community, you see there's a lot of houses that back to greenbelt. If you don't want neighbors, people say, I don't want neighbors on top of me. It's kind of inevitable side to side with your side neighbors, but you can find some great options with just trees and wooded area behind you to give you a little bit more peaceful backyard feeling. Now, I told you Circle C is desirable because of the schools, and I showed you, I name dropped a few different elementary schools. Well, let's check out what those school ratings look like so you know what to expect if you're sending your kids to public school or you want another option. So in the neighborhood, if you're in a section like Circle C proper, north on the park, Wildflower Park, or Vintage Place, your kid is going to be going to Kiker Elementary. So just going to pull up each elementary school, show you the great schools rating. Again, do your own due diligence, talk to neighbors, all that kind of stuff, but 9 out of 10 on great schools. Now, if you're in Circle C West, then your kid is more likely to go, will be zoned to Clayton Elementary. So again, all the elementary schools in here are highly rated, going to be at the top tier in Austin ISD. And you see Clayton also a 9 out of 10. Clayton's a newer school. Kiker's going to be the oldest school in the neighborhood, way outdated in a lot of ways, but Clayton's newer, 9 out of 10. Now, if your kid is in Avanya, Gray Rock, one of those south sections, they're going to go to the newer Bear Creek Elementary School, also rated 9 out of 10. So you see all three elementary schools rated 9 out of 10. Now, to give you a lay of the land of middle school, high school, and then we'll get into the other options. Goritsky Middle School is over here next to Circle C North. So along Escarpment, you've got Goritsky Middle School. It's spelled kind of funny. It looks like Gorzicki, but it's Goritsky. So let's check out Goritsky Middle, also rated, boom, 9 out of 10. So we're 4 for 4 on 9 out of 10 rated schools. And then high school that's the most removed from the neighborhood. You go down Slaughter Lane on the east side of Slaughter Lane. Down here, you get to James Bowie. It looks like Bowie, pronounced Bowie High School. And again, my kids are not in middle school or high school yet. I've heard great things about both of these schools, rated an 8 out of 10. I've heard really good things about Goritsky Middle School and how they've got a ton of programs, and parents really do love it. So again, do your own due diligence, but does get good reviews from the parents who send their kids there. Now, if you don't want to send your kid to public school, a couple great options. Well, first, let's rewind before they even start elementary school. We've got Goddard School, which is a daycare / pre-K in the Gray Rock section right over here. And then one of the most popular ones, this is where one of my daughters goes, is right next to the Circle C Swim Center, is the Circle C Child Development Center, also called the Circle C CDC, Child Development Center. And I would highly recommend, if you have young kids that you want to eventually get into school, or maybe you're pregnant, you're expecting a kid, get them on the wait list. I know it sounds crazy, but get them on the wait list so that you can start them as soon as you want to. Because I have heard stories of people on wait lists for a couple of years for some of these schools. So a couple daycare and pre-K options. And then a couple of years ago, they opened Valor in the neighborhood. So this is right where Mopac turns into 45. It's kind of a weird entrance, weird entryway, weird location for it, but the Valor School of Austin is a public charter school. They call it a classical education, so I don't think there's any technology. They wear uniforms, it's very different, so do your due diligence on what the Valor School is, see if that's a good fit, but provides a great option for families who want to be close, not drive 15, 20 minutes to school, but they don't want to send their kids to public school. Now, I told you I was going to share a couple of those hidden gems, things to do that you got to know this is here, especially if you move here. Even if you don't move to the neighborhood, if you live in the area, you got to check this out. So I'm going to take you there right now. Check out a couple of the hidden gems in Austin that people don't know about. I told you I'm going to take you to 2 hidden spots in Circle C that most people in Austin don't even know exists. So right now I'm at the Veloway, which is a 3-miler and a 3-mile paved trail for biking and for rollerblading. That's it. There's no walking on here. But you can kind of see this paved trail weaves all through the woods. It's really beautiful, especially early in the morning when there's a little cool breeze in the air. When it gets hot, it can be tough, but I take my kids out here all the time. There is one really steep hill that you're probably gonna be walking up, just to warn you. Sometimes there's little snakes, deer, you can kind of see some critters out here, but it's a great way to kind of be in nature. And again, a lot of people don't know about this. And then right down the street is the Labor Johnson Wildflower Center, and it's a botanical garden, but they've got really cool events throughout the year. As a matter of fact, coming up later this fall, they're gonna do a Nightmare Before Christmas themed light trail. So you go at night, you buy tickets and kind of walk through. It's really cool. They always change the theme to it. So just another reason why being in this neighborhood provides you with opportunities to kind of be outdoors, which people love in Austin, and stay away from the downtown area. It's really cool. Again, definitely check out the Veloway. Check out the Wildflower Center. Bring your kids. I would maybe do a test run on the Veloway first, but two great hidden spots if you live in the neighborhood. All right, let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe you knew about it, but when you break down amenities, schools, all the different price points, the options you can get, proximity to downtown, to the Driftwood, to the Hill Country, all of those things, that's what make this neighborhood so desirable, so popular. Again, we highly recommend reaching out to the team if it's a neighborhood you're interested in. If you want to learn even more about, we're happy to do an even deeper dive with you, walk you through, guide you through to get the right section for you. Hope this video is helpful. We'll catch you on the next one.